In boardrooms across the world, AI is no longer a slide on the strategic deck. It's workflows, it is decisions increasing in the lives of fear in lives and fears of people whose jobs are rewritten in real time. Some leaders are racing to implement AI at scale, choosing others are quietly asking a more human question. We transform the technology without breaking trust, dignity, right? So, and emotional fabric of our people. At the Power of Knowing Forum, we are looking at the four pillars of non-negotiable thing are technology, cybersecurity, strategy, and growth. AI sits firmly on tech, trust at responsibility, use as anchor, cybersecurity, decisions are clarity belonging to strategy, and sustainable performance lives in growth. Emotional intelligence belongs is the invisible bridge that connects all the four, especially when leaders are making AI powered decisions that shape livelihoods, culture, and long term brand trust. Today's CXO conversation leads where three lenses are in every single day: execution lens, builder lens, and business lens. Before we dive into the topic, let's have a small video about power of knowing. Our guest today, Archana, spends years in the arena of strategy meeting human emotions, organizations, and workforce development. She doesn't just talk about growth, she designs it from enabling leaders to handle disruption with empathy, to build cultures where learning, feedback, and emotional safety power innovation. Archana's work sits right in the intersection of strategy and growth, fueled by the deep human leadership. Her perspective is critical at the time of when AI is amplifying both the potential and the pressure on leaders like never before. Let's welcome Archana to the podcast event and dive into the topic. Hi Archana, welcome to our podcast. How
Hello,
are you today? Good
I'm
evening.
good. So good to be back on Power of Knowing Forum.
Thank you for the continuous support that you've been giving Power of Knowing to run these podcasts. Let's dive into the topic. Can AI leadership survive without EQ?
Okay, so before we dive into the topic, I would like to tell a story. That story which deeply connect to our topic today. And at the end of the story, I hope the context of the story will do justice to our topic of the discussion today.
Sure.
So the name of the story is When the Moon Taught Us to Feel. The moon did not just test India's technology, it tested India's emotional intelligence. So the story begins with Chandrayaan 2. In 2019, millions of eyes were fixed on a screen. Scientists had calculated trajectories with precision that rivaled global space agencies. Algorithms were flawless. Machines obeyed commands perfectly. Data was accurate to decimals beyond imagination. And then, in the final moment, before landing, communication was lost. Boom. What
Right.
was? What was back then there? Silence. In that silence, something extraordinary happened, not in space, but on Earth. Cameras captured a scientist wiping tears. The ISRO chief stood heartbroken. The Prime Minister walked up, not with the data, not with instructions, not with analysis. You know with what? You know with what, Prem?
I am guessing.
With a hug.
Okay.
That hug was not science, that hug was emotional intelligence.
Wonderful.
Machines had done everything right, but machines could not console disappointment. Machines could not hold hope. Machines could not say, "We will try again." Who says? Humans did. Now let's fast forward to Chandrayaan 3.
Hmm.
This time, the calculations were sharper, simulations were deeper, systems were redesigned. Yes, the machine intelligence improved drastically. But what truly powered the mission was something beyond the code: courage to learn from failure, humility to admit mistakes, patience to rebuild, and belief to try again. When Chandrayaan 3 touched the lunar surface successfully, celebrations erupted. But notice what people celebrated: not the algorithm, not the hardware. They celebrated resilience, team spirit, and human perseverance. Here is where man versus machine transforms into man with machine. So I hope we are getting to the topic, right?
Yeah, I
Actually,
really look at the way you are putting it, Archana.
yeah,
It
we are
is
actually diving deep in the topic.
exactly.
So AI can calculate the distance to the moon,
Hmm.
but only emotional intelligence can calculate the distance between failure and comeback. AI can process data in milliseconds, but emotional intelligence processes disappointment, hope, and courage, things that have no numerical unit. Chandrayaan 2 showed us the power of technology. Chandrayaan 3 showed us the power of human emotion guiding technology. The moon did not just witness a landing, it witnessed a lesson. Machine can take us to space. Emotional intelligence bring us back stronger when we fail. So the real question is not AI versus emotional intelligence. The real victory happens when AI becomes the tool and the emotional intelligence become the leader. Because in the end, rockets launch with fuel, but missions succeed with feelings, faith, and courage to try again. So I hope my story give the context for our discussion of topic today.
Yeah, it set the stage rightly because you're touching an emotion that is first is the failure that we spoke about, Chandrayaan 2, where we spoke about how we felt. And when you saw the second pointer where you said how we resiliently took over as the third Chandrayaan mission and we succeeded, and there is lot of faith, as you rightly said, is what we were able to see, that the team can perform, the team can bounce back, is what we've seen, right? So Archana, again the same question again to you: can AI leadership survive without EQ?
My answer is no.
Okay.
Leaders may survive briefly on intellect and performance metrics, but they rarely sustain success without emotional intelligence. AI amplifies decision speed, but it also amplifies emotional impact. A leader who is brilliant with algorithms but blind to human signals creates silent resistance. And silent resistance is more dangerous than open oppositions. I have seen digital initiatives with flawless technical strategy fail because employees felt excluded, threatened, or unheard. Attrition rose not because of AI, but because of leadership behavior. Engagement dipped and innovation slowed. The technology was strong, the trust was weak. Again, I'll give you one example. There is one series based on Chandrayaan. I was just watching those series, and then they have brought up this thing that there was one person, Dr. Ramaya or something, I don't remember the full name, and they asked that person to be the chief of ISRO. He was brilliant person, just brilliant, like intelligence and everything. Then he said, I can't be the chief of ISRO. Why? Because I understand machines much more well than humans. So it's not easy to handle a team, it's not easy to emotionally connect with everyone. So that is why we keep intelligence questioned different from emotional question. And being a leader, you don't have to deal with only machines or tools. Being a leader, we deal with people who again handle tools and machines. So leadership is all about handling people and team. So then there comes the emotional quotient in picture. So in the AI era, emotional intelligence is no longer optional because technology scales decisions, but only emotional intelligence scales trust. So I'll give you a few signals of low EQ in leadership. Meetings become one way announcement instead of conversations. You must have seen leaders giving instructions, you know. So meeting does not have to be one way, or communication does not have to be one way. High performers disengage quietly instead of challenging decisions. Change fatigue shows up as compliance without commitment. So while delivering or while addressing, if we see all these three, these are some pitfalls, these are some signals of low EQ in AI leadership.
Got it, Archana. So what we are saying is you can scale up anything and everything on the technology side. The leadership has to build up trust, emotional attached to the people, bring the team together to achieve that results is what we are saying, right?
Yeah.
Archana, in the world where AI is entering every decision layer, do you believe leaders without emotional intelligence are destined to fail, or they can still survive of pure intellect or performance metrics?
No, as I just mentioned, that without EQ, leaders will not survive, according to my opinion. Because when we climb the ladder in hierarchy, we start with technology, then we go ahead with the team, and then there is a big organization to take care of. And in the organization and institutions are not run by apps or technology alone. Who run those apps and technology and machines? All are run and taken care by people itself. And when it comes to handle people or team, the first things comes is emotional intelligence, emotional quotient only. Intelligence can interpret data, intelligence can bring out results, intelligence can analyze better. But when it comes to taking decisions regarding humanity, or taking decisions regarding taking decisions regarding the team, taking decisions regarding the team full of people, then emotional questions comes in the picture. So no alone intellectual cannot lead to a better leader.
Now, what I am trying to get, or what I am trying to infer is, I think the point is you have great technical skills. You will have to have interpersonal skills to bring teams together. And when you talk about EQ, it is going to be the decisions that you take which affect the entire team. It's not going to be a single person. So multiple thoughts, multiple viewpoints, and everybody wants to voice over them. And the leader has to listen to those kind of challenge pointers, which I think technology will listen, but it cannot take a decision, is what we are saying, right? So that's the stage that we are in today when it comes to EQ. Am I right in saying that, Archana?
Yes, Prem. See, if you have a team of 5 people. So again, I'll go back to my story and I'll again cite an example from there because it's a real one. So what happens is there was one scientist in the team. He was not emotionally well equipped because he was stressed of something. Because of which the team leader, he did not adhere those emotions while taking care of the team. He did not adhere to the emotions of that person, particular scientist. He blamed it, he removed him from the team after being him the best scientist of all the team, among the team. But then when he realized, when he was the chief of when he became the chief, then he realized that now being a leader, it's not just talking about machines and technology anymore. Let's bring back the best talent into the team again. He adhered to the emotions of that scientist after that, and then he brought back him in the team, and the team remains the same. So this is the beautiful example of a leader, how he quit upon the candidate, or he quit upon the talent, and then he brought back the talent back after knowing, after getting that feeling of being emotional leader. After getting the feeling of being an emotional leader, he brought back the scientist again, and then he led it with a purpose, and it succeeded, and we succeeded. Yes.
Got it. Archana, where have you seen high IQ, low IQ leadership actually damage AI or digital initiatives, even when the strategy looks stronger on paper?
So, in 2026, emotional intelligence is not a soft skill. It is a strategic operating system that influences decision quality, risk detection, execution velocity, and cultural stability. For CXOs, EQ is the ability to read emotional data with same seriousness as financial data. So I will give you 4 non-negotiable EQ behaviors. Number 1 is emotional clarity.
Okay.
Number 2 is empathetic listening, which is very important. I just now cited an example of empathetic listening and giving adherence to empathetic emotion, being empathetic while leading a team. Then comes psychological safety creation. It is very important. And the last one is regulated response. No matter what the feedback you get upper feedback, you get upward feedback, you get lower, downward feedback. Regulate your emotions. And before we regulate our emotions, we first have to know our emotions. Sometimes, with all the work and with all the busy hectic schedules, we sometimes forget to give names to our emotions, and when it happens, the EQ becomes low. So in order to be high in EQ, we need to upgrade the EQ vocabulary, which is naming the emotions. And I've also given you the assessment, naming the emotion with the statement, so that you will get more equipped with the emotions, more equipped with the vocabulary of emotions.
Got it, Archana. Now, if you had to complete the sentence of every CXOs listening here, in the AI era, emotional intelligence is no longer optional. Dash. How do you find or finish this line?
Emotional intelligence is no longer an option. it is a
Because
it is a strategic operating system
okay,
that influence decision quality.
got it. So what we are saying is we are saying that uh, in the AI era, low emotional intelligence isn't a gap, it's a leadership exit strategy is what I think that's what we are saying, right? When you look at emotional intelligence in 2026, especially in AI augmented organizations, how do you define it for CXOs beyond the usual soft skill language?
So I just, you know, put down the answer in my last discussion that it is a strategic operating system that influences decision quality, risk detection, execution velocity, and cultural stability. So I would like to put down that if EQ were a board level KPI,
Hmm.
then how will you define the emotional question to the team or to the board? The speed of AI adoption without attrition spike, trust index from leadership feedback loops, frequency of upward feedback, and the collaboration quality. This would be the KPI if EQ, we have to put EQ on the board level, KPI board level.
So the clarity is one thing that is more important when we talk about is what you're saying. Am I right in
No,
saying that?
yeah, just like non-negotiable EQ behaviors which
Non-negotiable.
I've put in, like four non-negotiable EQ behaviors I've put in, is
Mhm.
one is emotional clarity, the other is empathetic listening and psychological safety creation and regulated response.
Got it. How can leaders practically blend AI automation with human emotions needs to create what we call the high trust culture, AI culture?
Okay, a high trust AI culture is built through participation and transparency. We need to bring more and more participation from the team, and we have to keep all the all the actions and all the implementations transparent with the team. Employees should feel AI is with them, not
Hmm.
against them.
Got it. So it should be bonding together, saying that it is not an initiative to take out people, rather than say embody it, because what we've seen is AI is always being told that it will remove people. That's the bigger challenge that it has been spoken in as many ways, because AI can reduce the work a
Yeah.
person is doing repetitively. You'll have to be very clear on saying that, and also telling people or the audience saying that AI is an enabler. This is, we've been stressing it in every discussion, right? So when we take AI, we are seeing how we can do our jobs better, and not, as you rightly said, not having attrition when you bring new technology into place, right?
Yes,
So,
to bring that high trust into the picture, we have to get the participation from the team, and we have to keep the things transparent, and we have to make them feel that AI
hmm,
is going to support us, not remove us.
yeah. Now, what does a high trust implementation look and feel like on the ground for employees, from a communication to decision making?
Okay, what it looks like is like clear articulation of why AI is introduced, open
Mhm.
forums for concern, and co-creation of guidelines with the team. It should look like this. Like these three things must be well established and clear to the team.
Got it. What is one emotional, intelligent leadership behavior that instantly increases trust? That's the main thing, that when AI tools are introduced.
Okay, the way the leader behave when implementing AI is the one thing which creates a high trust team. The way the AI leader behaves, its behavior while implementing an AI tool or any app or technology to the team. The leader has to be calm, transparent, articulated, and empathetic listening. Yes. again.
Okay. Now, what you are saying is AI does not break trust the way leaders introduce AI does. So,
Yes.
okay, got it. Now, uh, I think I lost you. For a second, I lost you, Archana. So,
Yeah.
yeah, across generations, Gen Z, Millenniums, Gen X, how does emotional intelligence show up differently when leaders are driving AI and digital change in hybrid workplaces?
So, when we think about having a multi generational team,
Hmm.
first of all, let me take you back to their parenting style. So before we think that how to deal with generations, just go back to their parenting style. What sort of parents Gen X has? What sort of parents Gen Alpha is having? What sort of parents Gen Z is having? What sort of parents millennials had or having? So this is the main thing. Parenting style, know about parenting style will actually help us to know how to deal with generations while uh, managing the team. And EQ, emotional question, must adapt to generational and cultural context. Like, for example, Gen Z seek purpose and rapid feedback. Millennials seek growth and flexibility. Gen X values autonomy and clarity. Emotional intelligence recognizes diversity without stereotyping. And also, to get to know about their parenting style will help us lead them better.
Got it, Archana. So, what we are saying is the style of the upbringing also plays an important role in the
While
way
managing
people
generations. Yes.
while handling. And we were discussing in another podcast of ours where we were talking about how do we handle people who are having multiple layers of people, right? The Gen Zs, Millennials, and Gen X, right? And you are part of the same team. How do you look at each person's way of understanding the same problem, and how do you get perspectives, right? So when you have different diverse teams with Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z people, there's a lot of learning that each of others can exchange is what we understood, right? So in that context, I think what you are saying also is people don't want to be tracked at a level is what we have in the Gen Zs. They want to experiment, and you rightly said millennials look for a
Growth
pattern
and
where they want.
flexibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Gen X says, yeah, I know, but let's hold on and take it
And
slow, go
autonomy and clarity. Yeah.
autonomy, right? So that's what is what I felt also when I got to know your answer. What unique features, expectations, or motivations do you see in different age groups when AI is brought into their roles?
So for this, I can put the discussion into three major, headlines. Like for, or if I should say, like we should take three major adaptations while handling the generations or handling the diversity in generations. Number one is we should have varied communication channels. Like whatever the generation is preferring, we should, like for example, I'll give you a very lively example. uh, like my daughter is 10-year-old, and she's been watching reels. Okay. So you know how she communicates to me, like how she express her feelings in reels.
Yeah.
I did not did this thing with my mother.
Yeah.
Although I'm also watching reels, but my communication with my mother is not same as my communication with my daughter. So
Agreed.
first of all, I was very like not very much expressive in expressing myself to my mother. Like we have opened ourselves to our children in different way.
True.
So the way they express their self is different from the way we used to express to our parents. So the three things which I've put in, like Gen Z seek purpose and rapid feedback, millennials seek growth and flexibility, and Gen X value autonomy and clarity, these things come from the parenting style only.
Okay.
These things I brought up from the parenting style only, ki how they've been brought up and how they now express themselves. So this is like the one thing I mentioned is varied communication channels. Like if you want to communicate with Gen Z, you can just go ahead with WhatsApp message, or you can just go ahead by not calling or just texting. But when it comes to Gen X, just a WhatsApp message will not be sufficient. You need to put an email, you need to call a person, you need to send a message, and then the Gen X will feel invited, or will adhere to the communication well. So this is one varied communication channel. Then comes reverse mentoring for AI literacy. So there are many things which we don't know and which our upcoming generation knows, or they have a different aspect of doing things. They have a very different aspects of doing certain things which we must have never thought. So reverse mentoring for AI literacy is best when, when it is done in collaborative manner, like not going upward only, when it is done in diagonal manner. And the last one is experience plus digital native pairings, which is a very much Gen X. Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn from the experience. Learn from the experience and learn from which was already there. Like,
Yeah.
many studies and many archaeological survey comes up now, and we come to know that, oh, this is something which we have done thousands of years ago. So what is this? This is all experience and digital native pairing. So we have to pair our, our modern learning with our ancient, our ancient and experience and native knowledge. We have to pair the native knowledge with our modern learning. Then the blend of it will help us to manage multi-generational team.
Got it, Archana. So I think there is a gap that has to be filled when you look at the way you communicated with your parents and the way the kids are communicating with us. So as you rightly said, we've opened up the Pandora box to them, and they are giving us all the pointers that they would look in the most emotional ways that they can tell us, right? So I think that's the bigger point there. Now, if you had 30 seconds with a CXO, what EQ practice would you advise to keep multi-generation teams emotionally aligned during AI adoption?
I would prefer saying that just adhere to the style of their communication. I think that this is the best thing to do. Just know how they love to communicate, just know how they well communicate, and just adhere to the style of their communication, and then go ahead. Because I think when it comes to information sharing, how do we share information? Through communication channels only. And then we have to look in what communication channel is suitable for what kind of generation. Some people prefer talking, some people prefer texting, some people prefer reels nowadays, some people prefer professional email language. They might not like the way we talk in WhatsApp. So this is it. We have to look in for the communication style they prefer. And if this is sorted, I think rest of the things will get sorted again.
I think, see, again, I think when we talk about the project management methodology that we do, it's the stakeholder management that I would like to call it, because every stakeholder has a different way of looking the communication coming into him. So I'll recall one of the projects that we were doing in mid, I think about 90s. 99, 2000, somewhere in that period, right?
Back then.
2000, yeah.
Mhm.
So I was writing, I had written in an email to the bank, and I asked him, "Sir, I wrote a, did you get my mail?" So he said, "Give me some time, I'll call you." I was there in their office. He told me, "I have not got any." So I was checking what happened. I sent a mail about 2 days back, and he's not got it. Then he asked, "Prem, I went to the mail room. I did not find any mail coming in." I said, "Sir, I sent an
Oh,
email." I said, "I sent an email." "No, you said mail." So I had to check it in the mail room whether it is a, Prem, you should be, you may be the adoption of digital technology where you talk about emails. We are the bank, we are in the government. We have not gone to a stage where we respond in an email which is officially treated as a communication mode today.
yeah.
Okay, so what is an email? You should say electronic mail, you cannot email. So
Yeah, I
I
put
one step
E.
there is that when you have to look at stakeholders, you will have to look at, as you rightly said, one needs an email, one WhatsApp message is enough. Few people need a call, and few people just need to know in a form of a verbal way. When I meet you, I'll tell you this is what we, that's still fine. And the other people are, you need to tell them, you need to send a mail and also send a reminder that tomorrow is the meeting.
Yes.
So
So we
this,
have
these are
to
different, these are different ways of, go
so
ahead,
we
yeah.
have to see what communication channel suits the, the
Them,
person sitting in front of us, and
the
we have,
stakeholder.
and if we'll nail this thing, then we'll nail the other things as well, because first step is,
True.
wherever it is, the first step is communication only, whatever business we are
So,
doing.
so I go back to my project management style again. There are two things that we have to look at. One was stakeholder mapping and the communication mapping. So you had to give them, saying that if I had to write to a senior leadership, I need to communicate them with the data every 15 days once with an executive summary. If I had to talk to the people who are running the project, I have to talk to them on a daily basis to see what has happened today and what is planned for tomorrow. So when we really look at, we are bringing back those steps only to EQ, also saying that if I had to give you that kind of a communication, I need to bring that kind of a methodology for each stakeholder. Am I right in saying that, Archana?
Yeah, we have to adapt the type of communication channel we have to use
Yeah,
while delivering our information. Types, this we can put in type of communication channel we are using. Yes.
right. No,
Yeah.
I think what we are saying is AI may be digital, but the impact is deeply generational, right? So EQ is how you connect the dots. That's the whole picture that we want to look at now. With these dashboards, AI models given leaders with more data than ever, right? So you are flooded with data today, right? And where do you see emotional intelligence decisions causing most damage?
Okay, before coming to that answer, let me just bring this up that we are talking about generations, we are talking about communication, we are talking about everything, but technology does not comes at all in the picture, because when it comes to handling and sharing information and dealing with people, technology plays no role.
Yeah, yeah,
See?
yeah.
Ah. So, okay, now coming back to the answer to your question, the greatest risk today is emotionally blind interpretation of data. A
Hmm,
dashboard can show productivity rising while morale collapsing.
right. So I think what we need to understand is what are we communicating and how is it communicated, and what is the outcome that is going to come because of this communication. Because as you rightly said, there are multiple modes of communication, and the interpretation can change the whole narrative itself, right?
decisions and interpretation. We have data all over the world. We have enough data to do anything. We can analyze things, but when it comes to decision making, we might be in a risk if we have low EQ.
Now, coming to that point only, can you share a story where a leader followed data but ignored the emotional pulse and ended up paying for a bigger price later?
See, I would like to bring back again the that scientist, who was emotionally stressed, but he was very intelligent. He had all the datas in the hand. He precise to decimal. But then the emotions overpowered and made things worse. Emotions overpowered and make things worse. He had all the data in the world. He had all the data with the equipped team in the world. But then again, emotions, because emotions, like you cannot focus on the work when you're not emotionally stable. So this is why, it is very important to have that hold on our emotions, to have that knowledge about ourselves, the self awareness which we say, while dealing with data. Yeah. And while analyzing, having a hold on emotions is very important.
So I think that's a very important and powerful lesson that we are getting into, right? And now coming to the next point that I want to understand is, give me a second, something. What is one powerful question or on emotional intelligence a leader asks before approving a high stake AI or automation decision?
What will this decision look like from the employee's emotional perspective 6 months from now? I think would be the best question an AI leader should ask before implementing any AI tool, because that would be the most emotional, intelligent question to be asked before implementing any AI tool.
So the first point that we want to understand is how is it going to affect, right? That's the first point. And
What
on the
will
longer run, what is the outcomes because of this effect and this tool which we will be getting into, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Now I think what we are seeing is costliest mistakes aren't data errors, they are emotional blind decisions is what we are saying, right? So I think that's the pointer that we want to bring. Now
Yeah.
from your L&D and coaching experience, what actually works to move leaders from knowing emotional intelligence to practicing it daily in a AI driven environment?
Okay, see, when we are engrossed in work like you did today and you did not pay attention to the assessment I gave, this is one of the ignorance people usually make. Like these things will deal with later on. Because I recently posted also this regarding EI.
Okay.
People think that we'll see later on. First, let me just finish all the data, whatever I have, and share the required information about the emotions. I'll see later on. But these emotions pile upon, and one day they burst like a bomb
Yeah.
on you, on your family, on the team.
True.
So we have to adhere, we have to know, we have to get in touch with each and every emotions. Okay, lie down before sleep, just sit and just look back at the day, and then you see where you being so clear, where you being agitated, and where you being sympathetic, and where you being empathetic. Just look back in the day and just have a recall record of your emotions. This will help you know your emotions better for future, know your emotions better for present, and know your emotions, what you had yesterday. So don't ignore your emotions. And let me tell you, the way to better emotional intelligence is the way to know yourself better. If you are equipped with your emotions, you will be a better emotional intelligence intelligent. You will be an emotional intelligent person.
Got it, Archana. So I think the first point is apologies for not feeling that today, and I'll get it done for you. I'll get that sister
You are so
topic.
busy and engrossed in the work. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. I'll get it done for you by tomorrow. So that's a statement. Okay. And now coming to what is the most common resistance you hear from senior leaders when they introduce EQ or as a leadership capability?
Can you repeat the question, Prem?
Okay. What is the most common resistance you hear from senior leaders where you see uh, introducing EQ as a serious leadership capability?
Okay, just now what I've told you, the common resistance people do or leaders do is I don't have time for my emotions. Results speak for themselves. I'm not here to be liked. So usually leaders focus on these things, that by doing work or by getting ROI to organizations, to what chasing those profits, that will lead to that will lead them to be a better leader. But in this run, they ignore their emotions. They bring the resistance to themselves only, later to the team, but themselves only. They forget who they are. And these things, these small things which they ignore, they will pile up into a big emotional blunders later. So EQ grows through structured practice, not inspiration. You cannot get inspired today and get yourself emotional intelligence tomorrow. No.
No, it
You,
doesn't.
you have to practice. You have to practice. And there are, many downward feedbacks that will help you practice this thing.
Got it. Now, I think what we are saying is whether it is technology or learning something which is non-technological, also you need to practice it. And that's a very straightforward pointer that we are talking, where we say you need to learn, implement. Based on that, you learn some more things, and you keep on improvising. It does not stop there, right? So that's the first point that I would like to add when you look at. Now, if you had to give a 90 days upgrade
No,
to their.
uh, Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you, Prun. There is a progression for it. There is a
Okay.
progression for it. And in that progression, there are steps.
Hmm.
Like I told you, the first step is self awareness, then safe feedback, and then it's behavior experiments. So
Hmm.
it's not an inspiration or motivation you get and you get change emotionally. There is a progression happens to get you on the track which you actually require for being a better EQ leader.
Okay. If a CEO gave you 90 days to upgrade their emotional intelligence, what would your non-negotiable first step be?
Okay, so there are three steps which we have to follow.
Hmm.
From 0 to 30, we have to follow the first step, which is the step of awareness and listening, in which we have to maintain emotional impact assessments. We have to go in for listening sessions, and we have to map emotional hotspots. Then comes the stage of experiments and feedback, in which we do reflection rituals, and then there is an upward feedback, which we have to manage regulated response practice. And then comes a third stage, which is from 60 to 90 days, embed and role model, in which you have to show your empathy in communication, in which your behavior, in which those learnings which you have done in stage 2, first and second, those learnings which will be visible in the last stage. Your behavioral indicators are in reviews then, and then there is an intentional mentoring happening. So these are the three stages where you can plan yourself to get equipped with better emotional quotient.
Now, one last question before we dive into the pointers that are there on the chat, and then we will go with the summary. One last question. Uh, what I would say to the pointers that you are saying, emotional intelligence isn't personal type, it is a daily practice, is what you're saying. And with that, when AI automation starts to reshape roles, what emotional patterns do you see most often are fear, resistance, burnout, and how should leaders respond with intelligence, not impatience?
Okay, dominant emotions during AI transitions are fear of irrelevance, a fear of that I'll be irrelevant now when AI is being implemented. Then there is a fear of loss of control. I don't have control now, or it is all automated.
Yeah.
And then there is a cognitive overload, learning AI, doing all the things already which is there. So what a leader should do? Leaders must personally provide reassurance, not just HR. It's not the work of HR to see, you know, to go and see personally what team is doing and how team is handling the AI automation tool. The leader of the team has to be there in the picture to personally provide the reassurance to the team. And you can have few red flags, you can check in for the red flags as well while while implementing this. There is a drop in voluntary participation, you can see
Hmm.
increased leaves, and a passive compliance. There will be only order following, not
Hmm.
emotions, or not, you know,
Silence.
not they might not be there wholeheartedly.
Okay.
They will be only order following. So this is what, the fear of AI is there in the institutions and organizations. What if, kya hoga, generative AI. I've seen, scenarios like people are just talking AI. People are just talking AI, no matter what, no matter to the relevance or what. They're just talking generative AI. They're afraid.
No, I was, as you rightly said, people don't even think before they want to tell anything. They look at tools to get answers in some questions, and then they talk. People are not talking normal. They want to refer everything, check before they talk, and talk on what is the AI saying or the tool saying, right? So I think that's the very interesting shift that is happening. And as you rightly said, people are becoming silent when it comes to discussions, debates, because there is a lot of automation going on. Now, coming to the pointers that we see here, I see one question coming in from a user here. Grateful to be esteemed panel for inviting me part of this meaningful and insightful discussion. Sunil Kumar Singh, Green Tech Group, and Chanakya Sutra. That's his introduction, I think. And then I have another question. My Kita, technology drives speed, but emotional intelligence drives sustainable leadership. You want to comment on this, Archana?
Yes, definitely. If you are looking for a long-term leadership roles, be better equipped with emotional intelligence,
Okay,
because only technology will not lead you to a better leader. You need to be aware of your emotions, and to that we need to practice them daily.
got it. There's another question which says, mastermind win the hearts only then command the future, Chanakya. In the age of AI, true leadership is powered not just by intelligence but by the emotional wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. Emotional wisdom is the key. When we are, burdened, when we are overpowered with the technology so much, then what comes to handle this situation is emotions.
Okay.
When we are drowning in the data, we have to be emotionally intelligent to know which data is useful and which data to take out for our best results.
Got it. And there is another question. My question is, will future leadership be driven by data or by consensus? And when the two conflict, who decides? An important question actually to look at.
Actually, can you please repeat the question?
Uh,
I
will the future leadership be driven by data or conscience? What
Conscious. Conscious?
sorry,
Okay, okay.
conscience.
Conscious, yeah.
And when the two conflict, who decides?
Okay. So, see, when it comes to decisions we take regarding people,
Hmm.
okay, it then comes the conscious. Data is only for interpretations, results, and data is only to get the idea of what is being there and what has to be done. But how the things has to be done is done by conscious, by intuitions, by people, by leading team, by having a team spirit. So how matches and how sports are being done? Through tips and tricks, not
Yeah.
just tips and tricks, through motivation, inspiration, the team cohesiveness, the interpersonal effectiveness will let the teams win, not just the tips and tricks.
We were talking somewhere some time back where we said is if you look at medical systems also today there is a lot of AI coming into medical systems. Just to add to this point, the systems can tell you how better the operation can be done, but the operation has to be done by the human, right?
See,
It's a decision
yeah.
that's decision is by the data is available, but who has to do that?
Okay,
It is
I
the human,
in one of our last sessions I brought this up. Like, we all know how to use ChatGPT,
right?
but how to use ChatGPT for your use, and who is going to use that ChatGPT? Who is going to use that ChatGPT? A human being, no?
Yeah,
A human only. ChatGPT does not know anything until we
put
put
it
data to it, and
true.
it, yeah.
Now, with this, I think we are on. I have some takeaways which I've noted. I'll just read them out. In the AI era, emotional intelligence is not just soft edge; it's a strategic motto, and that protects trust, talent, and transformation. That's the first point that we have taken up. EQ translates into business language through faster adoption of change, better risk sensing, higher engagement, and healthier performance across all the four pillars like technology, cyberspace, strategy, and growth. AI does not remove the human leadership, it magnifies the impact of emotional intelligence, is what I want to say, or emotional blind decisions. So that's the point that we want to bring up.
Blind
EQ
interpretation.
is coachable when leaders commit to practice, awareness, feedback, and daily behavior
Yeah,
experiments that team can feel. So you need to make them feel that there is a change that is happening, and this is why the change is happening, right?
yeah. We need to be
Leaders
there.
who win the AI decade will be those who combine clear thinking, as you rightly said, courageous empathy, and consistent practice, is what I would like to say. With these are the pointers that I had as takeaways from the pointers that you had told, Archana. Any pointers that you want to add?
Yes,
A
yes,
lot of pointers here.
absolutely. So I would like to say AI will not replace leadership, it will expose leadership. The
Okay.
leaders who thrive will combine analytical sharpness with emotional depth. Emotional intelligence is a disciplined leadership practice that converts technology into trust and trust into sustainable growth. Because there are the drivers who win the race, not the cars.
Wonderful. Archana, with this, I think we are at the top of the hour, and I would like to say as a closing statement, as AI rewrites rules of work, one truth stands firm is people don't remember the tool rolled out. They remember how you made them feel. Is the very important point in every changing pointer. And leaders who choose emotional intelligence are deliberately as chosen technology stacks that will once whose team stays, as you rightly said, people have to stay. It does not have to churn out people or move out people, and build the future with them, not in spite of them. So that's the pointer that we want to look at. We have, with this pointer, we would like to say that we have streamed this podcast across YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Do follow us, do look at us, and tell us your feedback. Any pointers, I've just brought a scanner on top where you can reach Archana for connecting and asking more questions on the EQ side, and Archana would be available. If you put your comments on to the comment section, we would be delighted to answer them as well. Archana, thank you for being here. Audience, thank you for being here today. It's a great having you people spend this time to understand what will the AI leaders without emotional intelligence fail, right? Why it will be that. So thank you for that, and good day.
Thank you so much, Prem, for having me on the podcast. I'm highly obliged.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.